What's
Yeah.
up?
Hey. And yes, they did.
Miss
I
us?
saw your private chat that they changed the music on us. They changed everything in StreamYard. So like I I literally don't know what I'm doing anymore. And
I
I've been in
don't
here
know that I
like
ever
it's only been a
started
month.
what I've been
Yeah.
doing. Like they did change a lot. We actually started using StreamYard for my day job too. I'm rebranding the company here. Look out. Send me your influencer check, StreamYard. Um, and we just recently used it and I logged in and it was like, whoa, this is changes. Anywho, hi
Yeah.
all.
It is. Hi. Hi everybody. Welcome to, DevRel's most inconsistent show. We
Uh
appear whenever we've every once in a while we're like, yeah, let's do a show. So we're back.
I like to think of it still, we said it right? Like it's just we are the number one show at the intersection of fermentation and developer relations. It's a very
Yes.
competitive industry. So
Yes, yes. I could maybe that our at least our we can. Oh, I don't even know where I was going. I was going to make a joke. It just failed. I lost my joke. Because Ray was commenting in privately. I'm going to out him that I have to get rid of this background. Which no, yeah.
no,
Why is it only look, if you see things in this photo that are not there, if you see something other than a pickle, that's on you, not
you.
me. Yeah, yeah. This is I
See,
don't
that's
see.
not
I
a
have no idea what you think it looks like, but it's a pickle, and
it's a
it's pretty
pickle.
clearly a pickle.
But
So
it
yeah,
goes with the very don't ever
yeah.
tempt Erin with a cheesy and tell her to go and double down on her weird ideas. Like
So yeah.
relishes. I relish in a weird idea, much like I relish our guest today. Oh, look at that transition. Uh they are an amazing human. They actually are currently at Brian and I's mold stomping grounds. Old stomping grounds. Words today are coming out.
Yes. No.
Um,
Yeah.
Meet Tilde Thurium. They are absolutely amazing. They are managing and leading all of developer relations at LaunchDarkly. Cross paths when they joined LaunchDarkly. We got to be peers, and then I actually, sorry, Brian, credit Tilde to giving me a lot of experience of like, how do you manage up all the time and asking Tilde all of my 12,000 manager questions. I literally was pinging them this morning, being like, "Thank you so much. I steal your advice every quarter for my quarterly reviews because you are very good at that." Also, the first time that they introduced themselves in work, they said that one of their secret talents is giving very good compliments. And at first, I was like, I don't want to say that I like negged it. I was like, that's an interesting whatever. But they are very good at compliments and specific and timely. So, if you've received a Tilde compliment, it is a true gift.
Aw, thanks, Erin.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to hear more about this compliment, like talent of yours, because this is not something not something I'm great at, to be honest. Either giving or accepting, to be clear. I'm terrible on both ends.
Well, I mean, part of a good compliment is consent. So I always like ask people how they would like to receive positive feedback because some people, hams, they live it up. Some people actually really don't like that. And it's not a compliment if it doesn't actually make someone feel good. So I think your preferences are valid and legitimate, Brian.
Thank you. Yeah. That was like almost a compliment hidden in little validation here. You're like, okay, perfect. So, you, we did not cross paths at LaunchDarkly, obviously, but well, not obviously, not obvious to you and to me, but not necessarily to anybody else listening. So I should remove that. But you did work with Erin, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
So actually, you guys can just spend this entire hour just talking about all the amazing things.
About the amazing things of what? I don't know
Everything.
what you're referring.
Just everything about Erin.
Oh, about Erin. Okay.
Yes, this is actually now the Erin self-ballot. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, Charles says in chat, I often prefer honest critique to platitudes. I can't join the chat because I don't know, OAuth is hard, but I agree that feedback is also a gift. So
yes. And apparently Erin wants this to be a whole episode on Erin feedback, but only positive.
I actually do appreciate, like, sometimes I think, and Brian, you've noticed this, and I I have struggled with managers in the past where I'm like, I want you to rip me a new one, because if you're not ripping me a new one a little bit, I don't actually think I'm improving.
Yeah. I do think, I was it one of my team was saying though that they really there's a strategy of the what was it, like the compliment sandwich that you
Oh,
basically
I hate
when
that.
people
I hate that so much because, okay, if you think of Pavlovian conditioning, right? It's like if someone's like, "Well, I love you, but you really suck at taking out the trash, but I love you," then it's like you're gonna hear "I love you" and like brace for impact. A, because we're just like dogs. We classically condition ourselves with certain stimuli to respond certain ways. And B, aren't sandwiches usually named after the filling? So like that should not be called a compliment sandwich. It should be like a shit sandwich. But
I have never, oh my goodness, I never realized sandwiches are named after the filling, and now this is completely.
as Gerald says, when feedback triggers the imposter syndrome, yay, but what are you hiding? Yeah,
Yeah,
when
I'm
you get
usually
the
like, what are you about
compliment.
to ask me? What favor do you need?
right. But it's like if
So
you just build up the habit of just complimenting people out of nowhere when they do good things, giving timely feedback, and then giving timely criticism as well, then people won't like think you're about to ask them for a favor every time you say nice earrings or whatever. So, but yeah, to give you a little more background, I was an engineer for like 6 years. I worked at Pinterest, and then I worked on the Atom editor at GitHub, which gave me a background in open source. And by that time, I was organizing the Write Speak Code meetups for my local chapter. I was speaking at conferences, and I was like, what if I just made this my day job instead of doing all this work for free in my free time? And then got a job at Twilio doing DevRel, and that was wonderful. I was there for 4 years, became a manager, and then I needed a little breaksies, and I've ended up at LaunchDarkly, and apparently management is my calling because now I am managing a team again. But I do think that one thing I really like about tech is that you don't have to be a manager in order to keep growing your career. It is just one path, and it's there's no shame in going back and forth, at least if your organization is healthy. So
agreed. Yeah, I had this conversation even with somebody just yesterday, in fact, about, it took me like many years to figure out that like moving up and moving forward were not not the same thing, right? Like, because you get used to this, like, hey, I have to, if I'm not getting promoted, I'm not moving forward in my career. And it took me a while to learn that, and it took me actually having to like take a manager role, was a director level role, and then just step back from that and go back into IC to realize, like, okay, this is where I'm going where I want to go in my career, but it's not moving up. Although I'm back to like, well, not director, but whatever, managing again, somewhat reluctantly. I got back into it, like, yeah, I'll do that, sure. It's an IC/management role, and then it's like, it's never really that, isn't?
I give so much kudos to you both, because I have been a manager, I've been a teacher, and I've been a coach, and I think manager is not my calling. I don't like it. It's not that I feel like peer mentorship programs I love, because it's like peer accountability. Or right now I'm very fortunate, like the other DevRels on my team, like I get to be the junior one on my team, which is a very cool place to be. Like both of my teammates have been like a CTO or like very experienced engineers. And so I get to come in and be like, you've been doing this for 25 years. Please explain my dumb mistakes. Okay, thanks. Bye. And that's very fun. And like, I really enjoy that, because like that's something you don't usually get as a senior in your career, is like getting to be the junior on the team, which is very fun. And so, but I think like, I don't know, it's just, I give a lot of kudos, because the management side of things, I'm like, ooh, that's scary. Icky.
Do you?
Yeah,
I
it
think
can be
it's
rough,
rare.
but there are advantages. Like oftentimes, there's things you don't like in your workplace. You're like, oh, I don't like the format of this meeting or how we do feedback. And as a manager, you are much more well positioned to be like, oh, hey, I have an alternate proposal for how I want to do this, and then actually implement that. And it's not like you can't make those changes via NIC. That like leading via influence is a thing, but it's just like easier when you have the institutional backing and it's like actually part of your day-to-day job of what you're supposed to be doing. So
Yeah. I think it is. I will say, like, I've come to enjoy it, but you have to adjust when you're an IC, you're so used to just producing things, and like as a manager, a lot of what you produce is not like tangible things. It's basically, hey, is the team being productive? Are they happy? Are things, am I like, but it's not like something you can kind of say, hey, I had launched this or I did that. It's like the team did this or the team did that. I might have helped, but like I wasn't really like most of that the hands-on work of producing the thing was done by the team. So yeah, it's just adjusting your expectations. It's more like of how I perceive myself and the value of, like, because I'm so used to me tying my value to the things I could put out all the time. And it's a little bit different. I don't know if that's been your experience as well.
I mean, yes and no. Like, because on a small team, and many DevRel teams are small and running lean these days, you also have to do IC work, so it's not like
Yeah.
my hands are that far from the keyboard. And then I also like get to define the goals that we have. So me looking at it, being like, okay, we did or did not meet what we decided we were going to do this quarter does give me some of that sense of accomplishment. But you do have to like, so I guess in the long term, I feel like I'm able to measure my productivity, but I had to adjust my expectations about what it means to be productive in the short term, because you just kind of have a lot less control over your schedule day to day, because sometimes chaotic things just come in and blow up your week in a way that they don't when you're an IC, and you kind of got to roll with it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, my team's only 5 of us, including me. So like it's still small. So I have to do a lot of hands-on stuff. I am proud to say I'm the CSS expert on the team. And I always tell them that's terrible for us because I suck at CSS. but that's who they rely on.
Ready for this, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, so LaunchDarkly, when I was there, I was like never the person to do React or Next or TypeScript. Really not TypeScript. I'm working on our TypeScript SDK, and they're like, Erin, you're one of our more experienced TypeScript users. Can you test this? And I'm like, it took me a solid 3 months to be like,
yeah,
and just like accept it rather than I know what I'm doing ?
Yeah, that's me in CSS for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. That is CSS is something that I will use cursor for, because I start it and then it's never exactly how I want it, and then I type it in and I'm like, this is what I want it to do. Why can't I just figure this out? Please help.
It requires a lot of rote learning. You can't just like learn the basic. It's not like, oh, learn these 5 concepts and then you'll naturally figure out how to apply it. There's just like a lot of edge cases and things. So
yeah, I honestly party in the back end is where I like to stay.
Love me a good flexbox, personally.
I love that for you. Love that for you.
So your background was more in front end development, or I know.
I split my time equally between like front end tooling. I was on the web platform team at Pinterest, and back end. So I can make a bug in any time, any part of the stack. But I think I prefer front end because it does give you more of a tangible sense of what you have shipped. And also just, I don't know, I don't like databases. Like I can write SQL, but I don't want to. Don't make me do it.
I got my start in SQL, all that.
Same.
Yeah, so
SQL and Python, and Emmett's here. So Liquid circa Shopify 2014. So when Shopify had that nasty Liquid library, and that was actually kind of my start to really.
They still have that, don't they?
They do, but it's the stuff that I worked on is now deprecated, which is like, it still feels weird enough to me that I'm experienced enough to be in a place where something is deprecated. Still, like, that still hasn't resonated with my brain. But yes, Liquid is still a thing. It's very different from the OG, and Emmett gets this from the ecom land. It is very different from the OG Liquid that was launched in Shopify. And that was the first code I wrote for Pay, was Liquid templates and Liquid
cool
email templates. And let me tell you, because I thought an email template at the time, my like gobbledygook brain was like, it's an email template. How hard could this be?
Oh.
And I like was so proud of it. And I remember being like staying up late watching YouTube videos and being like so proud of it. And then I showed one of our engineers and I was like, did it, take that. And they were like, Erin, did you test it in other formats? And I said, no. Who needs those? And then I cried. And then I said, maybe I'm not cut out for this, and avoided it for another like 6 months. And then I was like, this isn't that hard, right? I just figured out I just will never make templates again. And APIs are way cooler than that. So anywho.
Yeah. I mean, but you've seen the emails I send out for CFE. I clearly understand why. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just going basically text. I'm tired of trying to make this work. So just text.
But one thing, so we always get typically in this chat, and one of the reasons Tilde, I was like, wow, you'd be great to have on this, is 9 times out of 10, we get people in this chat that are like, I want to be in DevRel. Or they'll join the Discord or whatever else, or they'll email in or they'll comment on these videos after they're posted. So this is you, and you've asked these questions. Raymond, I saw this, and unfortunately my put Elon in the rocket isn't going up, but like, I will believe that when I see it. By then, aren't we just going to be like sending transmissions directly to brains? Isn't that what the future is going to? Please don't say that. Actually, maybe the Earth is wiped with a giant magnet. We can all just play in the grass.
It'll be email templates directly into your brain.
No, thank you. But yeah, so we get a lot of questions on this of like, how the hell do I get my first DevRel role? And I think I landed in DevRel, much like many others, as an accident. I didn't even know it was a job when I got my first DevRel job, and I distinctly remember, what does open source DevRel mean, and Googling. And I think that's how I actually originally crossed paths with Brian, is like, I was reaching out to a lot of people being like, you do this for a job, please explain to me what I'm supposed to be doing in my 9 to 5, because I don't know. So what advice did you give in the year of tech hell of 2025, if I'm allowed to say that?
Okay, so
hiring.
I have a hot take on this, which is like, to be developer relations, it is much easier if you've actually been a developer for at least a couple of years, and it's not impossible to relate to people whose job you haven't done, but it is much harder, and you will have a lot more opportunities in DevRel if you've been an engineer for at least a couple of years. It just gives you a lot more mobility, flexibility, more opportunities are open to you. So if you don't have that background, go out and do that first. And I know it's so hard. Like right now, at an entry level, anything is just impossible, and I have so much empathy for that, but like, the things are cyclical. The market will get better. It will not be this way forever, I promise. So just hang in there and learn as much as you can, because it's also, there's so many more resources for learning now than there were when I learned to code. So there is that. Thing number 2, like, start doing the work in public. Like, you don't have to get a DevRel job to see if you like writing technical tutorials and organizing meetups and speaking and like helping out at hackathon. Like, you can start doing some of this stuff and dip your toes in it. And that way, when you go to an employer, you can say, hey, I have the technical background and I have experience doing this kind of work. And that's, what more could you want, right? Because the other stuff you can learn on the job. Raymond says, I was blogging, presenting, doing DevRel stuff for 10 years before I got the role. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. I mean, I look back and like, if I'm looking at that advice, so like, I've always been early stage, but I was never like, developer was never my formal title, but I was able to show a portfolio of work that was like, I was at a 5-person company, a 10-person company. My title was also integrations engineer, and whatever random queries needed to come out of the database, and like, or open source. Like, I had open source. And so like, and that's something that like, I'm going to push a hot take here, a spicy take. I'm not known for these at all. I keep it mellow. In the age of AI, and I say this fully acknowledging I am in the AI industry, employed by AI, and I think all of our companies are doing something in AI because it's on the bingo card for 2025 in the world of tech.
Not mine, but yeah.
That being said, the number of recruiters I have had reach out, just simply having AI on my resume, has skyrocketed. And then you ask them 3 questions and they like fall off. Because I'm always curious. I'm like, hey, I'm not really looking for a job right now, but like, I know others are. I'm happy to forward it on. I personally think that my spicy take, also working in the AI space, is more important than understanding AI is understanding data and data science. And people who like playing in backend will have a much more successful time in AI than someone who doesn't have backend experience or data experience. Like, this is wild. Like, what skills, if I was like going for a DevRel job in 2025, like we can say front end, back end, AI seems to be the hot one right now, but what skills would you optimize for?
It depends on the product that you are trying to evangelize, because the product will shape the strategy that you're using and the skills you're looking for, right? So right now I'm hiring for AI, an AI specialist and an observability specialist to support those products. And it sucks because I'm coming across so many generalists where I'm like, oh, you're so good, and I would really hire you under any other circumstances. But right now I just need this really specific skill set. But in general, like, for hiring a generalist, I want, like, technical depth. I want the ability to convey technical information to people of different, like, levels of ability and backgrounds, and humility. I guess those are like my top three. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it is interesting because when I've like hired people, I often not necessarily care that they have deep knowledge of a particular area, but it really depends on the kind of role. Like I think sometimes some of the skills that you're looking for in a good DevRel, like I can teach you the product, right? But I can't teach you like how to be a charismatic speaker, to like be good at, to be a good writer, those are harder skills to teach. But I kind of feel like having switched around so many times, like I've had to jump from back end to front end to like different products, things I mean, when I joined LaunchDarkly, I knew nothing about feature flags and anything else LaunchDarkly did. And when I joined, I mean, honestly, I had a basic understanding of AWS when I joined LocalStack. I'd never used the product, and so I think a lot of those things you can learn. My take would be, it's just a lot of jobs right now don't have that room to grow somebody into those. Like companies are like, we need now, so.
yeah, a couple of things on that. Yeah, I agree that you can learn, that some skills are easier to teach than others, but like AI in particular, because of the explosion of interest, it's like people will build like some ChatGPT wrapper and then start calling themselves an AI engineer. And I feel like the kind of deep credibility you really need to be respected in that space is not something you can learn overnight. So like that's why we're looking for a particular specialist in that. And on the topic of AI, Ian brings up a really good point in the chat of it'll be interesting to see when the industry shifts to actually testing candidates for AI skills, since you can't use AI in interviews right now. And like, yeah, I would love to hear your take on this, actually, because in my free time, I'm offering free technical interviews to anyone who is Black, Indigenous, a person of color, or trans, because it's hard out there and I want to do what I can to help. And I'm torn on, like, should I be encouraging people to use AI in these interviews? Should I not? Because I want to do what the market is doing and help them be successful. So like, what are you all seeing in the wild?
So I've actually started, and I was actually talking to Donnie D'Amato, who is he runs the Wireframe podcast on front end. He does design systems, like front end stuff. And he was actually telling me, he's based in New York City. He's at GoDaddy. And he was saying in his interviews, he's like, build it, whatever, use whatever tools you want. If that's AI, great. And he's actually now starting to ding them points if they don't at least mention AI and like how they approach it. And it's less of like, do you use it? Yes, no. It's more of how do you approach it in your workflow? So he's like, sometimes he's like, I really liked someone who just was like, they prompted something and they started something and then they went back in and manually changed a lot of stuff. And I was like, that's actually a more realistic approach, because I think of some of the stuff that I use like AI for, like CSS. I'm not a pro at CSS. I don't like it. I don't do it. 9 times out of 10, it's a flashy thing that's like a 10-second ad on the end of a tutorial. I want it to do something. I'm not going to go look. I can spend hours on this. There are people, I'm never going to be an enterprise front end person. That's fine. I'm okay admitting that. I can make a shitty first draft and be like, help me refine or tweak these like little things. The other thing I've been liking it for is at LaunchDarkly, I started learning Go, and I've wanted to just maintain on that. And the GoLand terminal from the IntelliJ suite, the JetBrains suite, is actually really great at explaining the connections, which is really helpful. But like, as far as AI goes, pure vibe coding terrifies the crap out of me, because I'm like, you don't actually, and like, I know in our interviews, I think you have to, if you do vibe code something, you have to explain it. And like, what does it do? And or how would you improve it? Which I think is a much more realistic like use of it than say, YOLO, make me an app. Because let's be honest, my husband's doing that actually with Goose from Block Open Source right now. He has used that to make a few apps, and I love him dearly, but he also asked me about GitHub last week. And it's not someone I would consider a developer, but he's technically built a RAG app.
I do think AI, like, interestingly, like, I feel like AI is in terms of using it in your workflow. Like, if somebody using an interview, I don't have a problem with it, because I mean, honestly, the stuff we're building in DevRel is we're not building big production systems where I'm that concerned about, you know, maybe, I mean, we are trying to create like legit examples that you know, teach the concepts and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff we're doing, like, I mean, I think we can use AI, because we're not like this, like maybe more than other people, because we're not putting this stuff necessarily into production that much, you know, like it's a demo, right? And if I build a demo, like, I can use AI to build the demo pretty, you know, speed that up, and things like that. But, you know, if I was say building the back end, like, you know, some core element in LaunchDarkly, like, and I'd be a little like, might have higher expectations of their core knowledge of the code than I would like DevRel. I think we're often asked to kind of switch things all the time. Like, part of the job is constantly learning. I have to learn something new all the time, and it's not so easy for me to like be like, oh, you know, I can't spend forever learning that thing, but I can jump into AI and kind of help it get me into like whatever new thing I have to talk about that comes with, we're releasing this and I know nothing about that, but I got to talk about it.
I think
so
the differentiator I would put, and I'm curious to get Tilde's take, is the separating from generalist to more in depth is like, how would this scale? Like, can you answer that question? Because I mean, we work with a lot of my apps that I build actually do go to a sales engineering team or a field engineering team, and they're the ones facing the enterprise people, and like, they have to be able to answer, how does it scale? And if we don't know the appropriate answer to that, that is going to separate Thought Bro numbers 47 in AI land that vibe coded something on a Tuesday. And I also think the other thing that is very tell is like people who follow hype and not follow consistent. Like, I can sit here and confidently say I have a consistent story from my first DevRel job to this one. And like, if I had to choose consistent strengths of mine, like, I'd always be like, I'm very strong with APIs. I feel very good in data. I understand databases. And that's been a consistent narrative throughout my DevRel career. But like, could you be like, Erin, are you a consistent front-end person? I'd be like, no, I avoided it. And I think that's more important than someone who's like, been in AI for 3 months and I am a vibe coding pro.
Is there such thing as a vibe coding pro?
I mean,
really?
I'm pretty sure there is. I feel like I've heard that there's some course being sold for $999.99 and some hype bro shit.
More like a grifting pro.
Yeah.
I was not the one to say it, but not wrong.
Yeah. I think, like, isn't by nature, there's nothing, like, the whole idea of vibe coding is that you aren't a pro? I don't know.
You can be.
It's just,
maybe it's grift vibes.
Well, I just mean that a $900 course to teach people to like use Cursor or something is just like banana crackers. That's like, wow. But
yeah,
anytime something comes along, a rapid technological shift comes along and changes things up, the grifters also come out to play, and you just gotta learn how to spot them. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I'm trying to think about like what other perspectives I could offer as a hiring manager, because I know it's like tough right out there. And something I was thinking about is how people are also using one thing that shocked me. People are using large language models to cheat on their resumes. And I'm not saying you shouldn't use ChatGPT to spruce up your resume. Like, it can be a good, partner, helper, but so I'm hiring for unreleased products, and people are claiming to have had years of experience with these unreleased products. And I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. So don't Don't just take a job description and remix it into your resume and then blast that out to 300 companies. That does not help you. That does not help hiring managers. But since people are doing that, referrals become more important than ever, unfortunately, because you can't realistically screen every person in your pipeline. It's just not possible. So like networking, referrals, getting someone who works at a company to submit your application for you is more important than ever, unfortunately. So
I also think
Agree
the
with
thing I
that
hate about
completely.
this, though, and I say this as someone who's, I mean, Brian was my referral into LaunchDarkly. Like, I referred one of my teammates into my current role. My conflict with that is like we have confirmation bias, right? And so when you are in people in positions of authority, we tended to know that they are of a certain persona, straight white man, and straight white privileged man. And unfortunately, the referral problem.
oh yeah, totally. It
It's
does
like,
not.
and it's like I'm like, yes, I totally see the value. I have benefited from the referrals, but I'm also like, like,
Yeah, to be clear, I don't think things should be this. I don't like this.
yeah.
And then it does replicate existing biases in your employer network. So I'm not saying things should be this way. I'm just saying like this is kind of how it is for the moment, and hopefully things change when we
Hopefully.
enter
Yeah.
more of a when the job market changes for the better. So
I
All
think
fingers
that's where
crossed.
the like what you're both doing, referring people, like is important because I've seen that, and I've even had, like, especially at startups, like I've seen early stage startups where like the founders and some of the early like folks just refer their friends, and their friends are all like people in their group who all look and are, have come from their same background, they look and everything like them, like, and I've even had conversations in the past where I've told them, like, you can't keep doing this because, like, what you're building, look at our employee page, and just take a quick glance and see if you see what's going on here. Unfortunately, you know that was at a time when they thought this was a problem. I don't know that now's the time when, like, companies are like, yeah, we don't have to care about that stuff anymore, unfortunately. So but I do think it's important that for those of us who care about those things, that we do kind of push people into that referral process, because it is critical right now. I think I've heard from a number of people, like even on the DevRel collective, they're talking about, like, oh, basically don't even bother applying without a referral nowadays because you won't get an interview.
basically, yeah.
Cries in state of world.
Yeah, but it's like, I think it's important to understand, like, when a system is broken, like, when do we have leverage to change that, and when do we get the most effect by working within the existing system as it is. So
Yeah.
It's a perpetual problem my brain always struggles with, because I'm like, I don't like it, but I also recognize that you can't flip the tables as much as I'd like.
Yeah. I mean, right. I think right now, still this kind of saying, like, we got to work within, because I think the power to change that is kind of, we might have had it at a point. I don't know that we're in a position of strength on that. I'm not saying we shouldn't fight to change it, but I do think, like, we're not necessarily coming at it from a position where, like, it's easily going to get changed, especially because, this is not all leaders, but a lot of the leaders in tech have decided they no longer care about those issues, and don't have to. So,
I have some hot takes on this too, but
go for it.
Oh, yes,
We
I'm
love
so
hot
ready.
takes.
so
That's one of
whoever
our
thought that we were going to
specialties.
long for the performative era of diversity when you had to, like, pretend like you cared about, marginalized people. But I have a degree in gender studies, and from that I learned that there's kind of like two models of social change, right? There's like the top down, model, and then there's the bottom up grassroots model. And the top down model is just much more ineffective in a lot of ways. And so right now, because we're in the state that we're in, we can still do things to support real DEI that are like from the ground up, that have a lot more propensity to be effective than, like, companies press tours about how great they're going to be in the future in terms of diversity, and then nothing happens. So the thing that I'm doing, where I'm doing practice interviews, like, it is giving me life, just like getting to talk to so many awesome, smart, talented folks that I don't, didn't already know. And I think I would really love to see other people do this too, right? Like get a free Calendly account, even if you could just set aside 1 hour a week, put it on LinkedIn, say, hey, I'll interview a stranger. Like we can scale this ourselves if we all do this, because practice interviews are like, interviewing is a black box. You don't get any feedback on what you did wrong or how to improve. So people are just spinning their wheels, but often with just like a little tweak, you can take your existing knowledge and demonstrate, apply it a little more effectively in the interview setting. So like I would love to encourage other people to try this out. Yes, Ian says share what you know and we all win.
Yes, like the closed doors, closed gates help nobody. There was actually Salma wrote a really good article on this recently on the whole women in tech movement. And like it is a movement that I have always felt conflicted in, because I'm like, I feel like once you join those movements, it's like, oh, you're good, but you're good for a girl. That's cute. Or like, why aren't all your apps like cutesy and fun? And it's like, if they can be cutesy and fun, I'm still serious and good what I do. I'm dropping the blog in the comments. I think, Brian, you might need to uncensor the blogs, but it was a really good article I found of like, there's that kind of, I do not have a full gender studies degree, but did study it in a minor. And it was like that collective activism does, like, just going out and finding, like, having those one-on-one conversations and building those relationships allows you to develop your own support system without this boo capitalism.
Yeah. I'm finding Salma's blog because I saw that one too. But
I just
don't
dropped
know why
it in
it's
the
not.
chat, the private chat too, for you. Oh, I'm very excited. My pickle fact is on point today. We didn't even expect this conversation to go here, but I'm very excited.
Oh wait, drop the link. I'm not seeing it. Is it working? Is the link working?
it
Oh,
in
you
the
dropped it in private chat. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I got it. I don't know why. Like I gotta check why. I never really know why it
think
doesn't
it's
allow.
showing. I don't understand. It was such a good
I
blog.
think
It was such.
yeah, but I don't understand. Like
there
I
we
think
go. It's in the chat now.
now it's
Yeah,
there.
such
Yeah.
a good. It's like, and it's like even talks about like the problem with like, even if we rename it to not men's spaces, it's like this doesn't actually like solve the root problem. And it's like great, like it's like, remember the whole thing of like, I'm a male engineer. Whoever made those shirts that came out a while back ago, I was like, I love these. These are great. These are snarky. These are dumb. Because it was like a whole play on like, I'm a female engineer, and it's like you can just say engineer. And yeah, it's just wild. Just wild.
Yeah, I have to read Selma's post. I saw it and she wrote about it, and she's always like very insightful. So
I felt myself like fist pumping during it, because it was like, man, someone took a lot of these things and thoughts that I had in my brain and that I have personally struggled with, like, and I was like, this is great. I love this. Anywho, but yeah, that all being said, I think like one, that's like a great little bit, and then like hobbies outside of DevRel, like Tilda, you are an amazing painter. Something like I love seeing, and like all of your artwork, and it's very cool. And so like ending on, I'm like how can we just make this like, yes, this is DevRelish, but this is also like a very positive one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I paint abstract architectural paintings with really bright colors. I like colors. You could probably tell from looking at me. And part of a fun art studio collective in Fruitvale, and really enjoying that. So
that's cool. I think I always find in kind of bringing it even back to like a little bit DevRel, like you meet a lot of folks in DevRel who, and engineering in general, but DevRel in particular, who have creative backgrounds, who like were in music is a big one. Like you find a lot of musicians who came into DevRel, and I think, or comedians. Have you met any DevRel comedians? Those are common too.
Never.
No, never. Hi, Megan. Aw.
Oh, there you go. See, you're not the only one who's good at compliments.
Clearly.
Just bring in all the talent here today. This is all talent. I know we're coming up on time. Are we ready for pickle facts? Or...
Yeah, do it.
I'm very excited about this one, and I'm actually going to drop it in the chat because this one is got some visuals in it. I have discovered this artist. I don't know where I originally discovered it, but I have a running Obsidian doc of pickle facts because that's what you do when you think about pickle things at 2 a.m. But I found this artist, Diana Puntar. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correct. She is a sculpture artist that does pickle sculptures. And they are pickle protest sculptures. Actually, inspired by the research of, I think a while back when we had Cassidy on the show, she shared with us a pickle fact about Ameridicio Verducci, which was a pickle peddler who America is actually named after. And some of the first labor movements were actually around the importation of British pickles. And there was a whole taxation thing. You can read it in some history book or on the internet, but please don't ChatGPT that. Find some actual reputable sources. But she has been doing a solo exhibition all on the research of Americans' colonial resistance and how it has been co-opted by far-right ideologies and Republican administration. And she does one of the points of work, she developed this picture that is a pickle stand, a dish that was used in the 18th century America to serve people pickled vegetables, meats, and seafoods. And it was originally kind of a status symbol, but she kind of points out the fact that like we're co-opting status on things that were not originally ours, aka colonizing, if you might say that. But she posted, like, she has a series of artworks, but she also did some written pieces as well that I was actually tying a lot of our political history to the interwoven pickle world. And yeah, I went on a rabbit hole way too much about this lady.
She's so cool.
Really cool. She apparently had an exhibition until the 12th of July. But she talks about like a lot of like, she does like these essays around like pickles and American history and colonization. And then the sculptures are like these very funky, like pickle sculptures. Like they look like pickles and they are made of pickle, like historical pickle parts, which I thought was just so cool. So if you need a good rabbit hole and you want to like get some conceptual protest art in your system, please look up Diana Puntar. She is amazing. She's an Instagram.
I never really thought about pickles and their impact on history till now.
Now you don't. Now you know. I'll drop her Instagram as well. It was very fascinating. There's lots of pictures of pickle sculptures. It's based in London. But it's all of them are pickle based. And she does a lot of like alternative history artworks, which I love that whole like alternative history genre. And so I was very down the rabbit hole in this.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
You needed some rabbit holes to run down. I do recommend. She's very cool. Very interesting.
Oh, Ray says he's an alt history fan too. But is he an alt history fan when like about pickles? Like, is it a pickle alt history fan? Like, it's a whole different thing, right? It's a different genre. So
yeah, I do need to know though. Like, do we still do we dunk on the horseradish pickles? Because I love a good horseradish pickles. Those are top tier pickles in my book. Like with the big chunks of horseradish or naturally fermented. Like if you've had true naturally fermented horseradish, which is a process of fermentation, it is so good. But like I always have to find people that also like it with me. Like my husband wanted it because he's like, that is gonna spice every last sinus out. And I'm like, please. It's like that or like really spicy kimchi.
I love spicy kimchi and I do love horseradish, but I never had a horseradish pickle.
It's like they have there's a woman at the farmer's market near me that makes them. Divine Brine in Brooklyn, New York. They make natural brines horseradish pickles, and it has like the chunks of horseradish in it, and they're like super like clean your sinus out spicy, but then they also make their own horseradish, so it's like really like pungent, and I like a good pungent TLDR.
Yeah, I want to feel my sinuses burning so I know I'm like alive.
Yeah, I want to feel sinuses burning. They're good on baked, like the natural horseradish is good on a baked potato too, like a sweet potato, because you get that sweet and pungent.
Yeah, I agree with Charles. Horseradish pickles sound good. I need to figure out where I can get some horseradish pickles. And I do love horseradish. I do love that. Like, you know, I'm the type like person who like gets all the when you go for sushi, gets the
ginger.
No, not the ginger. The
green stuff.
Yeah, what is it?
Oh, wasabi.
Why am I blanking? Wasabi. And I pour my soy sauce and I dump all the wasabi in there and make this.
I'm about the pickled ginger.
It's delicious.
Yeah, they have a blog that I just shared. It's a Pride of New York. They are at the regular New York. They have a wasabi pickle too in this Divine Brine.
Oh, Charles did not approve of the mix of I'm assuming this is the mix of soy sauce and wasabi. Okay, it's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
my favorite.
Next time you're in New York City, I will have to make sure
Well,
that we
now
get.
that I'm closer to you, I can actually just hop on a train and
Yeah, you can hop on
go
the
down.
train and we'll eat them and then be sending Tilda pictures of our horseradish pickles from Divine
Please
Brian.
do. I would love that.
And then maybe Megan will take the train over from Park Slope.
We'll do it as part of like a promotional like photo op.
Photo op for our pickles. I'm actually gonna just go there and be like, hey,
for the show.
Yeah,
We'll have
for the show.
We need we have like
we'll have
like
a tax
pictures
write-off for all the bajillion dollars we make on this show.
Yeah, there you go. I turn this into I can write it off, Yeah. I'll charge it to the business.
A pickle GPT or a pickle fact generator. I feel like I need one of those. That might be a new upcoming tutorial.
Yeah, why not? You should. All right. Well, this was super fun. I know we could talk about pickles for a while because Erin just really, really loves the topic. So, but I know I'm glad that people do stick around for the pickle talk. I'm surprised. It's like
he's like, Erin, someone else actually wants to listen to you ranting about pickles and your pickle recipes.
Yeah. So CFE Orlando pickle meetup. Yeah, I'm not in Orlando anymore.
We got to go to Northeast now. It's got to be in Northeast.
Yeah, I'm in Boston now. I'm Orlando. I miss Orlando. Going back this weekend though, so go say hello to my friends. But miss it already. Although it'll be a little bit warm and humid. Anyway, Tilda, it was so good to actually meet you, even though we share a LaunchDarkly background, but we didn't cross paths. So I'm glad I'd heard from Erin about you and always great things. So it's really great to meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a delightful conversation, and I hope the rest of your day is really excellent.
Thanks. And Erin, always good to see you again too. Well, we'll be back, I guess, next month. Are we back next month, Erin? I don't know.
I think so. We just need to pick a date. I have a couple background people, but I have some people in mind.
Yeah.
But.
Oh yeah, and Anyway, like I said, with the most inconsistent show in DevRelish, but we will be back
the number
eventually.
one show at the intersection, the number one most inconsistent show at the intersection of pickling and developer relations. So you just got to change your markers.
Yes.
Yeah. Change the goalpost.
We need YouTube to kind of set that as a distinct category so we could be number one at something.
YouTube feature request. Here we go. I know they have no other feature requests more important than that at the current moment.
All right, so it was so fun. I love seeing all the chat. It was great to see everybody here. We'll see you all next month. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye, friends.